Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make this bubu dress with this collar neckline. And to make our dress, we have 4 yards of the Ankara fabric and 1 yard of this dry lace fabric. So depending on the size you are working with, for me I am working with a size 18 for this dress. So these are the things I'll be needing. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to this channel. Turn on your bell notification so you always be updated as soon as I upload another video. So right now, to get into the cutting of this dress, we need to fold our fabrics into 4, but this time I've separated the back fabrics from the front fabric. So I have a fabric like this, the front folded into 2, the back also folded into 2. So this is the front fabric on the back fabric, and I'm just aligning and placing it. I'm trying to give like 1.5 inches mark for the back for our zip line. So I'm just going to mark my 1.5 inches there. What I'm marking is what I'm going to be using as that will serve as our zip line for this dress. So I'm just going to rule that out. So after ruling this out, I'm going to place the front fabric close to that line that has been marked, so leaving that space for our zipper allowance. Then the next thing, I'm going to just mark out the start line for this dress. So all my measurements will be taken from this line I'm drawing. So this is just serve as our shoulder line, also as our start line. Now the next thing is for us to just put the shoulder measurement. So whatever shoulder measurement you are working with, mine I'm working with 8 inches. I'm just going to go ahead to mark the 8 inches. Also, I came down with 1 inch for our shoulder slope. Now I mark that 8 inches also at the bust area, so I can have a straight line for us to put our armhole measurement. On that 8 inches mark downward, this is where I'm going to put in my bust measurement. So your bust measurement divided into 4, you're going to put it. So after adding the bust measurement, I went ahead to add 3 inches allowance for the sewing allowance and the ease. You know, it's a bubu dress, so it's a very free dress. At this point, I'm trying to make the armhole curve. So I'm just going to go in by 1/2 inch at the middle of this armhole. Then from that point, I marked out the front armhole. Then for the back armhole, I'm not going in anywhere. I'm just marking out a straight line for the back armhole curve. Now I'm going to take out the waist measurement, the hip line. So on this waist measurement, I'm going to impute the waist measurement divided by 4. I also added 3 inches. The hip line, I'm going to take hip measurement. Also, I added 3 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead to connect these lines together. So if you just want it to be a straight bubu, whatever you have at the hip line, you are just going to go down to the hem line of this dress and put exactly what you have at the hip line on that hem of the dress. But if you want it to be wider, you can just go ahead to add more if you have more fabrics. So for this, my hip line measurement, I think I had 17, but at the hem line I had like 24 inches. So I just went ahead to mark out 24 inches so the dress will be wider at the hemline. So at this point, we're just going to go ahead to cut out everything we have marked for this dress. So for the armhole, I'm only cutting off the back armhole, not the front yet. So now let's go to the neckline of our dress. So for the neckline, I'm going to go ahead to measure the neck width of this dress, and I'm working with 3 inches width for the front, 3 inches depth. So for the back, 1 inch depth and 3 inches width. So 3 inches depth for the front and 3 inches width. For the back, 1 inch depth and 3 inches width as well. So I'm just going to mark that out here. Then I'm going to go ahead to connect this together. Just connect it straight to the back. That's for the back neckline. Also, then the 3 inches depth, this is for the front neckline. So on the front part, I'm going to come down at the center front with 4 inches. So this will serve as the slit at the neckline. So I came down with 4 inches only at the front neck line. So right now I just went ahead to cut out the back measurement. Then I raised up the front part of the dress off from the back. So now I'm going to cut off the shoulder slope, At this point, please ensure you leave your shoulder allowance. At this point, I just cut everything off without putting my shoulder allowance, but I was able to work with it. But when you are cutting, please leave half an inch for your joining allowance at the shoulder. So right now I went ahead to cut off the front neckline. Then at that point when I marked 4 inches, I went ahead to open that slit downwards to that 4 inches mark. So this is only done for the front neckline, not the back. And so after then, this is my waist measurement. I'm going to come down with 2 inches that will serve as my pocket openings. So 2 inches. From that 2 inches down from the waist, I'm going to mark out 7 inches or 8 inches, but 7 inches is fine. This will serve as our pocket opening. So I'm just going to notch this. So this is where I'm going to attach my pocket when I am going to do that. This is where I'm going to attach my pocket when it's time for that. Now to go ahead to cut our dry lace. So I just place the fabric on it and I'm cutting off the neckline. So I want to use the pattern. There's this pattern on this dry lace that I want to use. So I went ahead to cut off the neckline, also at the shoulder. On the armhole part, I came down with 4 inches. 4 inches on the armhole. So this is where we are going to start the cutting. On the armhole, I came down with 4 inches. So I'm just marking that to the shoulder. So I went ahead to cut this. So at this point, I'm going to take off the dress. But when I took off the dress so that we can continue marking out our pattern for the front part of this dress, I realized that this pattern wasn't going to work like this. If I go ahead to cut off this, it was not going to work. It was not aligning. So it won't give me this pattern all through. It was not straight. So going ahead to cut it like this was not going to work. So I opted for using pattern. I needed to create a pattern that will place on that 1 yard of fabric so that I can get the pattern part I wanted to use to place on the front. So I just went ahead again to rule out the neckline, the shoulder line, and I came out on the armhole by 4 inches like we just did before on the dry lace itself. So after marking out the 4 inches on the armhole line, I'm going to take this off. From the shoulder line, I'm going to come down with 11 inches. I will mark that 11 inches point. So I wasn't there was no need for this. So I'm just going to mark that 11 inches. But so from that 11 inches mark, I'm going to go ahead to mark out 3.5 inches all the way down. So all the way down 3.5 inches for. So I just needed this pattern to only cut the upper part of the front parts, then I will be able to sort the remaining parts. I just needed the upper part of it. So now I'm going to connect all my marks, the 3.5 inches. Then from this point, I'm going to be connecting this 3.5 inches mark with the 4 inches mark at the armhole that we came down with a curve like this. So if you want it to be a straight V, you can just use the straight part of your ruler. But if you want to give it a little curve, you can just use your curve part of the ruler. So after cutting this out, I'm going to be using this pattern to mark out my dry lace, or to mark out the pattern for the dry lace. When this is our pattern, this is what we have. So this way I'm able to place it like on the right part of the 1 yard, and so I can be able to get the exact pattern I want for the front part of the dress. So if you have a dry lace and you have 1 yard, this is how you're going to go about it. But if you have just a plain fabric you want to use at that front, you necessarily do not need to create pattern or go through all this stress. You just go ahead to cut whatever fabric or plain fabric you are using at the front. So I'm doing all this is because I have a pattern dry lace that I wanted to use, and it's just 1 yard. So I'm making the best or making the most out of what I have. I hope that is clear enough. So I'm just going to use this pattern to cut off everything that I'll need from this dry lace. So I'm going to use this one to go ahead to cut the remaining part. So this is the remaining part because it was just a straight pattern, so it was very easy to cut. So I went ahead also to cut my pocket. So if you don't know how to cut this pocket, it's very easy. I'm going to attach a video to a link of this video where I showed you exactly how to cut your pocket. Very easy that way. So the first thing, I'm going to attach my dry lace, the part where I joined. I'm going to join the dry lace at that part. After joining the dry lace, I'm going to go ahead to put it on the dress. And to do so, this is the back of the dress. This is the wrong side of the dress. So the wrong side will be facing up, and the front side or the right side of the dry lace will be down, or whatever fabric you are using. So the wrong side of your main fabric will be up, and the right side of this fabric you want to use at the front will be facing downward. So you're just going to sew it at this point, just the middle point. You're just going to sew with half an inch all the way. You're not sewing the neckline, you're only sewing the slit at the front. So after doing that, so I'm just going to cut off the excess and mark and notch that part so that everything can lie flat. And this is what we have. You can see how flat it is. I've not even ironed it as them. I like working with fabrics like this. They are just very easy to, they are just obedient. So at this point now, this is the front part of your fabric. So because you sew it at the back, you have used it to turn, you have brought it all the way to the front. Now on this part, we're going to just try and get the middle of your dress, the middle of your dress. So with that middle mark, you are going to, on that middle mark, you are going to place your hemming gum. So what we are trying to do here is just to attach this dry lace to the fabric so that it can lay flat, or so that it can be centralized. You know, we are still going to go ahead to put the bias tape around the lace, but you need it to be centralized. So the best way is to first use your hemming gum to put it in place before you come to the machine to sew the bias. So now to sew this bias, what I'm just doing here is putting the dry lace in between the bias and stitching it. So you have to do this carefully. You don't need to rush it so that everything will come out straight and neat and fine. So I'm just putting this dry lace in between the bias and sewing it and stitching it to the dress, the main dress itself. So the dry lace in between the bias and stitching it on the main fabric. Just do this and it will come out nice. Do it carefully. So after doing that, I went ahead also to attach my pocket. I cut 4 of those pieces, and on that point I marked, I went ahead to attach my pocket. So now this is what we have. The next thing we want to do is to go ahead to join the shoulder, bring the back and join the shoulder. So now we've gone ahead to join the shoulder together like so. So this is what we have. So the next thing now is to measure the neckline, what you have on the neckline. After joining the shoulder, you are going to measure what you have on the neckline. Me, I think I have 8 inches. So you're just going to measure the two to ensure you have the same thing. What you have in one is what you are having on the other part. So you're just going to measure to ensure you have the same thing. So with this measurement, we are going to go ahead to cut out the collar rather. So to cut out this collar, I'm just trying to put a straight line at that point. I just marked out 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, and mark it according to the length of the collar that we just measured, according to that neckline that we measured. So I'm marking this, I'm putting the two neckline measurements together, and I'm just marking it and cutting it out on a straight. So this is the two joined together, and I went ahead to cut it out. Also, I brought this measurement to the fabric. This fabric, the width of this fabric is 4 inches. Then the length of it is according to what we cut out. Then also I'm going to place the fabric on the dry lace to cut out the same thing. So the dry lace is what will be at the front, but we need this Ankara fabric to serve as the lining so that the collar stay that we are using will not show inside, will be showing from the cloth. So this is what we have. Then I went ahead to iron both the top part and the down part of this collar with 1/2 inch. So I went ahead to iron it. So my collar stay was not ironing, so that's why at this point you have not seen it inside the collar yet. So after doing all this, I went ahead to cut this collar into two. Remember, it's two necklines and there will be zip at the back. So remember, whatever you have in your neckline measurement, ensure to have like 1.5 inches. So this will serve as, it's better you have excess. So at the zipper part, you are going to just cut off the excess. So now this is what we have. We're just going to go ahead to attach it to our dress like this. So when we are done attaching, this how it will look. You can also, if you want to trim the front part of the collar, you can as well just go ahead to give it the shape or the curve that you want to do here, right? You can just do that. So now let's attach this to our dress. So what you need to do is from back, you're attaching from the back to the front. So on the back part of this dress is where you are going to attach your collar. You pick one part of the collar and attach all the way around from the back of your dress, the wrong side of your dress. So when you are done, you are going to fold it like this and sew that straight line. Then at the end of the day, everything, you will now come and finish it neatly at the front. So when you are done, this is how it's going to look. So I'm going to take it one after the other. Let's see. So I'm going ahead to stitch this, and this is what I have. I went ahead to stitch it too at the front. Now I'm just cutting off the excess. After cutting off the excess, you are going to go ahead to also notch it so that everything can lay flat. Then when you are done, you are going to fold the collar this way and top stitch it at the front so that the finishing at the front will be very neat like that. So this is how it will end at the front. We'll top stitch it at the front neatly. So both the back and the front will be very neat. At the end of the day, when we are done with that, is to attach this other part to the sleeve, the remaining part of this dry lace to the sleeve like so. Then the next thing we need to do now, after attaching our neckline, the next thing is to put. After attaching the zip, we're going to go ahead to attach the sleeve to this dress. So after doing that, this is what we have. So at this point, I've gone ahead, let me just show you. I've gone ahead to attach the zip. Also, I went ahead to attach the sleeve. Right, so this is how it's looking. This is the zipper part of the dress, very neat and nice. Also, I went ahead to attach the sleeve of this dress. So after attaching the sleeve from the sleeve or from the edge of the sleeve, I just went ahead to sew 1/2 inch all the way through, 1/2 inch all the way through from the sleeve hem to the pocket this way like this, all the way like this, all the way down to the hem of the dress. So this is what we have. Basically, we are done with our dress. The next thing is for you to go ahead to finish up the hem. You can use your hemming gum or you can go ahead to sew it, whatever or whichever way you would like to finish your hem. So if you find this video helpful, please do it to subscribe to the channel, turn on your bell notification, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.